I got roofied in London. What's going on, guys? Pickle Pete here, back at it again with another story from my Europe travels. Let's get it. Waking up to the Rocky theme song and a Snapchat memory of me profusely vomiting all over the toilet. Kev and I began to start what my favorite day in London would be. But let's get back to the start of things. As we said goodbye to my great aunt and great uncle, we were off on our own on one of the shortest flights I've ever took. I was in Dublin, flew on up over to London. Mad quick, it was like an hour. But now we went from crawling to walking, as this was the first time we were on our own. And as a measure of where I'm coming from, I came from like a really urban town, and going to another country and city to navigate was quite puzzling for me, to be honest. It is for anyone. I was starting off, I felt really scared and a bit nervous, but in England, at least they spoke English. So, yes, all my years of learning how to speak English in English class were finally paying off. Anyhow, we proceeded to out of the airport and headed over to customs, where we ran into our first challenge immigration. With a very straight face, the lady at us came up to us. She was like, "State your business." I was like, to travel and backpack Europe? What do you do for a living? The gentleman said to Firefighter Kev. Firefighter Kev answered, firefighting. As the lady asked me, my answers started with a long pause and thought about what the hell do I do for a living at age 19? I've had a lot of miscellaneous jobs, landscaping, lifeguarding, just all of the above, restaurants, but I said landscaping with a drop of tone of voice, and not a broke college kid like I am. How long do you plan to stay? The man said in a stern voice. 3 days. You can pass. The British people were no joke compared to the Irish. I honestly didn't even remember going through immigration there. Our first objective was to find the subway and figure out how to go from there. As we left the shiny airport, we got on the dirty subway and head over to Brixton, a section of London where our hostel was. As we looked at the start of the map of the subway system and implanted into our brains, okay, go 4 stops on the purple line, okay, then the blue for 4, and the purple for 7 again. I would argue, and the other people would agree, that London has one of the most challenging subway systems to navigate. It was kind of a task for me, but KevDog has been here before and made quick work of it. This was also my first time taking a metro or tube, as they call it, anywhere. So we bought a quick 3-day pass or 72-hour travel pass. The best way to do it, get around as fast as you can. As you go there, these narrow systems, or what they call the tube, you come across many characters. Our first was a positive, awesome. He was this black 30-year-old teacher who taught football, or as we know, soccer, in the U.S. Excuse me. Why do they change the words everything? Had a great conversation with him. He was getting out of work to see very two obvious looking Americans, as you guys learned from my last episode of getting drunk under the table by my great aunt and uncle. We came over from Ireland, and he actually struck the conversation up with us. And this was the first truly random person who showed us kindness, and he was super chill, just a great combo. I was able to make it out of the tube alive after seeing one lady get crushed to death. I kid you not, like when those doors are closing, they're closing, and for some reason some people decide to like run. So I see this British lady, she runs and then she like kind of gets stuck halfway in, halfway out, and she's cursing in British, and she was just too slow. There's no mercy for tardiness. It was funny. She was fine, just probably a sore shoulder, but we rode the long escalator. I kid you not, guys. This is literally like a stairway to heaven. It was littered with advertisements too, like a bunch of little screens on the same thing. They said the same thing. It was pretty dope. Finally, we made it to our stop. It was around 4, I want to say, and we walked through the lively section of Brixton area. We were getting up to our hostel, and as we're going there, there's like this park area, and there's just one tree. And there was this guy who was just slumped on like one of those white chairs. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. But I kid you not, that guy was just chilling. Anyways, we pull up to our hostel and we see these two security guards, and they're telling us like at first I'm like, is this the right place? Like this is like a bar, outdoor picnic area, green turf. It was a nice setup, super cool. And hold on, let me let my dogs. We're back. So we get there, and the only problem was where were we sleeping? We're trying to figure this out. So we walk up to the bar, and immediately the tender knew it was up by our massive backpacks. She said, "Come this way." And we went behind the bar up a narrow staircase to our rooms. After that, we were guided to a receptionist that had someone quickly show us around the place. She was a super nice lady who showed us the bathrooms, where I'll be vomiting 6 hours later, a very nice common room, and one of the largest kitchens we could see besides the castle. We'll be staying in later on this trip. I found my labeled cot. It was just James and Kevin. He was like on the cot across from me, and I think there was 8 people in this room. I have a photo, but I put my fanny pack strap down, all my clothes. Now these fanny packs were our life source. They had everything we needed: passport, wallet, driver's license, credit cards. If we lost these, we'd be absolutely screwed. So we'd keep them under our shirts to just kind of look like fat Americans. And if this book inspires you to travel, I 100% recommend doing this. No issues and totally safe. It was great. We headed, okay, here we decided to ball out, baby. We spent 5 big euros on a 6 pack of Heineken, got some nice steaks and rice and broccoli, and it was about to go down. The whole time we were chefing up in the kitchen, I just kind of stood there as Kev is a beast of a chef. He just knows what he's doing. Kev threw the steaks on, and I was like, dope. He was spicing them up, he was flaring them up. I was able to put the rice in the microwave for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Like the package said. Kind of the big master chef here. Anywho, many random travelers stopped in and were complimenting how good the kitchen smelled for once. One man, when we left, said, "Man, no more steaks in the kitchen," and he was from Jamaica, super cool guy. We left some butter and other things in the fridge, but we decided it was time to head down to the bar. One thing I'd like to point out too is that this hostel, there was actually some people who were like posted up for a couple of months. You'll meet the guy Molly who I was talking about, and as well as one guy who was trying to set up a whole like desktop area in a common room. They're like, "No, this is a hostel, buddy." Anywho, after meeting some interesting NPCs, we headed on down and ordered our first drink, not really knowing what to get, as they had some weird beers there, but screw it. We needed to celebrate and grab a beer and drink. We were chilling on our own for a little bit and watching some older guy play pool, but eventually we decided to work up our courage and we sat down next to a man from Portugal and Colombia. They were all traveling. Now, the trippy part is I didn't remember this the next day. I tried to speak to the man in English, but he only knew Spanish and Portuguese. Later on, another person joined our conversation who spoke German. It was a crazy. So hear me out. Kevdog and I were using 100% of our brains to try to understand and communicate with the NPCs, with the other friends. We'll call him amigo. In Spanish was trying to say. We knew some Spanish from grade school. I never really thought it would actually apply to real life until I got into this situation, which was kind of cool. And Cat Dog was pretty good at Spanish too, as well as speaking German. And there was also a girl from Germany there. So we had this 4-way quadlingual multi-conversation about life growing up in America, Colombia, Portugal, and Germany. It was awesome, a really special moment. Now this was the high point, the peak of the fucking night. This moment was so special and dear to me. I will hold on to it, forever. It was great. Completely random strangers coming together, trying to conversate. It was awesome about, just learning about each other's lives. What it was like growing up. Some great places where we were just so wholesome. Until a dark, gloomy figure was casted upon me. The girl from the Netherlands, whose bag I have been holding on to for the past hour. Para horror orders as the gremlin from the troll under the bridge below. Hell, I had time to run up and grab my jumper and come back down into the hostel. We were chilling at the lovely tables. Eventually, she came back down with her nose ring that could cut my neck off. She said, "Let me buy you a drink," because I've been holding her bag, this complete stranger, for about an hour. I was only 2 drinks deep, and I wanted to get more buzzed. I'm a bigger guy. I'm like 180 at the time, and I'm only 5'8". I was on the bulk. I hit 225 on bench, and then I just went to Europe, drank beer, and got fat. Anyways, I was like, sure. So I went to the bathroom because I was chilling on that bench for a while. I come back out, and she's got this cold bev waiting for me. Bet, cheers. I happily guzzed my drink down, and I bought her one as well shortly after later as a thank you. That last drink was the last thing I remember after about an hour after drinking it. But a Snapchat video of me vomiting all over the hostel. And I can hold my liquor. I've drank a lot before. After a quick rundown, Kev told me the girl was very touchy-feely with me as I was dancing to the Turkish music inside the bar. Like, they had the outside area, which was chill, and then inside, which was kind of like party and live music, which was great. Thankfully, Kev was there for me. He literally was a godsend, a savior. And once he scared off the gremlin, we consumed some more alcohol. But literally, it was insane. I blacked out before, and it was like, I don't think anyone has personally blacked out off of 4 beers unless you're like 100 pounds. But with the help of Kev Dog and my drugged upness, we were able to defer, and she retreated back to her dark cave to live another day. I'm thankful for my drunk recording skills, but above all, Kev Dog for not letting me get captured by that goblin. And it was crazy. I never thought I'd be roofing in my life. Like, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a dude. Besides the matter, they had live music, and I was drugged up, so I don't really remember it. But apparently, I pushed my way to the front of the crowd, and like the singer called me out because I was screaming like a 5-year-old girl whose parents were like, I don't know. I was just so loopy and out of it. Here's the analogy: a 5-year-old girl whose parents threw her a My Little Pony birthday party. She announced to Kev Dog, "You guys must really like Turkish music, or you guys just might be a little hammered." Anyways, at the end of the good first night, the steak must have absorbed most of the roofie, but I don't remember squat. And Kev said that I was at like an all time high. It was weird. It was like I was so out of it, but like I was just having a good time yelling. Wild. But the next day was an all time low. The depths lower than Bikini Bottom. Now, I know what you are thinking. 7 a.m. wake up is not that bad. But when you're up until 2 a.m. and I slammed 7 bevs, one of them containing a roofie, you wake up not the happiest of campers. It was weird. I felt numb until we got to our destination. I just kind of like teleported to beautiful Sky Garden. It was amazing. But the subway or tube over was absolute hell. The Victoria line screeching. Instant migraine. Not that I didn't already have it, I just kind of like amplified it. I was so out of it, but it was really cool. We got up there, they were hosting like a nice little yoga sesh. You could see all of London as it was 50 floors up. Nothing says London like 50 floors up in the sky with plants. But what was even cooler was eating up there. We had breakfast, attempting to stomach it. My stomach was not too happy. It was around 9:30 by now. And it was trippy because we could very obviously see like where the breakfast building was, but struggled to find our way up to the right door because there were so many like plants and everything. It just kind of blended in. Eventually, we made our way past for security, and for some reason, it wasn't like this when we were in the Crown Jewel of Town Bridge. Anywho, we spent 30 minutes again looking like complete idiots for the breakfast cafe. Yeah, like I said earlier, could not find this place. It was like a hidden Minecraft door, but for 30 euros, which I guess it was worth it after getting drugged. After taking some drugged leftover pics with the best view in London, hands down, we had one of the best days, surprisingly. This breakfast definitely saved me. It was like a 180. I ripped a little power nap on the tube to our next destination, and we covered a lot of places we saw. Yeah, London, we didn't ride it. Big Ben, their version of New York Square's time, also Tower Bridge and the museum with the crown jewels right as it was closing. It was super cool they had a small escalator there. We finished the day off with some expensive tapas. They have like any food in London, but it's pricey. But the next day was even better, as I didn't have a pounding headache. We got to see the Royal Queen's Guard March in preparation for the Queen's Jubilee. She kicked rocks. Surprise her. Anyways, their band sounded great. Great band. And we went to the World War II Museum. I'm going to pause right here. All right. There's generally too much that goes into like all of these trips and our journeys, but one thing that really stuck out to me the most was this guy we met named Molly. And he was 26, a taller dude. When we first walked into the hostel, we noticed that he was sleeping across from us on the other side. This was an 8-person one, all dudes. And Kev was on the other side, but because Kevin's a bigger dude, he was like shaking the rack a little bit as he was climbing up, and he gave him some lip. And I didn't know about this until the next day. So, we kind of went up to him. We are like, yo, what's up? Shooting some shit. Turns out, he wasn't too pissed off or anything. Kev wasn't either. It was just a little squabble. I thought there was going to be a big fight about a breakout, but Molly just told us like he lived in London full time. And it was interesting to get his perspective. We talked about some crap in the US that he liked. Like he liked to listen to Joe Rogan and how he was big into the gym and all he did was work. And because it was cheap to stay in the hostel, he'd sleep in the hostel. And I get it. It's kind of like his room then. So I felt bad. But I forget. This was the first time I've genuinely given someone advice. I think he told me that he thought he was autistic. And I genuinely thought he was too. But he was a smarter gentleman, just working in a restaurant. And he had the opportunity to go back to school, and I was like, do it. Do what you want to do. And quite the hoot and the holler, one would say.
I don't know whether he took that advice or not.
As
really
we're walking over to the World War II Museum, Kev
that was
got
the
into
first
his
time
first
someone
and
genuinely
last tourist
thanked
trap.
me
There's
because
these
no one else
two
acknowledged
old
him or even
ladies
talked to
who
him.
just needed €1
We were the first
for
people
the
to go
children's
out of our
hospital.
way, and he brought that up to
I
us. And just
laughed
said,
in my
thanks
head.
for the
I'm like,
conversation. Thanks
what
for your advice.
idiot
Like,
would fall for
can't
this
believe you
trip?
guys are 19 doing
Only to
this.
turn
He was
around and see
26,
Kev
so
getting
wanted to
bombarded
throw
by
that
this
in there.
gremlin. Ugh.
Let's get back to it.
Gremlins in London. I started recording because I thought it was hilarious, and another old lady got up in my face. This old bag tried to snatch his whole wallet, and firefighter Kev went into fight mode against this NPC. Handed her €1, and we left. As I was laughing, it was the last mistake of our city charity, our entire trip. All funds were going to the big 3 things: food, entertainment, and most importantly, alcohol. But these ladies were vicious, and I doubt that they were going to the children's hospital. They were like little tinfoil, and it was like a piece of cloth that was red. It was like not even a little flower. Anyways, we're wrapping this up as Kev and I chilled in the World War II Museum and just soaked up so much history for the day. That was our last day in London, and we were excited for what was to come next. This place was definitely worth visiting. I liked London. It's ups and downs, a lot of downs, but you got to look at the bright side in life. I give it a rating of 8 out of 10. Now we're getting into our next chapter, our next place that I despise, quite honestly. Pickle Pete here
Chapter 4.
again. If you guys enjoyed that video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, share. Plenty of more content to come out soon. Hope you all had a great day. Later.